All right. Once again, we are here at the virtual Law Enforcement Expo for 2021. I'm very happy to report that we've got about 100 participants logged in and ready to go. So we're very, very excited for today. A lot of you are here are as TSC students, but we also have some of our community members that have logged in that were able to register to log in to get this very important and critical information. So thank you all for logging in this morning. We're very, very excited to host you today. This is our annual virtual Law Enforcement Expo. We had to do it virtually this year, but we did want to keep the tradition alive. So we have some very special guests today as our panelists, and we're going to have an official welcome done by our fantastic leader, Dr. Jesus Roberto Rodriguez. Go ahead, Dr. Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you for the invite and good morning and welcome to Texas Southmost College. This year's virtual TSC Law Enforcement Expo. I'm just delighted to be here again. My name is Dr. Jesus Roberto Rodriguez, and I have the privilege of serving as the president for Texas Southmost College. I'm delighted to welcome everyone who has joined us today and to participate in our virtual Law Enforcement Expo. I truly, truly hope that you are having an enjoyable and safe semester. I would like to extend a very special welcome to the TSC board members and all the members of the community who have joined us here today for this special event. Our Law Enforcement Expo is an annual event at TSC designed to showcase our excellent criminal justice program and degree offerings. It's also a great opportunity for our community partners to showcase the amazing career opportunities that our TSC graduates have available when they graduate. This is truly a collaborative effort between our partnerships of organizations in our community and your Texas Southmost College. I truly hope that you take advantage of this year's event to meet and interact with the law enforcement agencies personnel and to gain insight into what it takes to move forward into this career. These are beautiful, beautiful careers in the law enforcement agencies. TSC Law Enforcement Expo is one of the many ways TSC fulfills its mission of providing that relevant quality education experience that helps students achieve their workforce potential. It is an extremely wonderful opportunity that TSC presents its communities. And I would like to thank the TSC Criminal Justice faculty, the Office of Student Life, and the Division of Humanities for organizing today's virtual event. And again, our TSC Board of Trustees for their unconditional support in allowing us to continue to move this wonderful institution forward. So please join me today's event. We want you to know that TSC is your community college. Our home is your home. Nuestra casa es su casa. And once again, welcome to Texas Southmost College.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez. It's always nice to get a warm welcome from you. I'd also like to introduce a very, very special guest who I know that this particular event is very near and dear to his heart. I'd like to take the opportunity to ask our chairperson, Ruben Herrera, who is our chairperson of the TSC Board of Trustees, if he could also give us a welcome. Thank you, Mr. Herrera.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. My name is Ruben Herrera, and I have the honor of serving as the chairman of the Board of Trustees for the Texas Southmost College. On behalf of the board, I really want to welcome you this year to the Texas Southmost College Law Enforcement Career Expo. This expo is an event I hope dear to my heart. I started preparing my own career at Texas Southmost College when I started studying criminal justice, or law enforcement as it was back then. I have continued my studies. And eventually, after a long, arduous, hard journey, became a criminal defense attorney. That is what I do for a living. I want to encourage each and every one of you. There is a lot of fields that you can go into when you study criminal justice at Texas Southmost College. I want to welcome you, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. This institute that you are taking classes in works. I am living proof of it. I ended up being an attorney, and I love my job, and I love what I studied at Texas Southmost College. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being part of the expo. Thank you to everyone who is participating in this expo. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chairperson Herrera. It's always nice to have our leadership here with us as we have these fantastic events for our students and for the community at large. So it means a lot to us to have our president and our chairperson here to help us kick off the event and provide this fantastic information to our students. So thank you very much for joining us this morning. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. Again, welcome to the event. My name is Sonia Trevino. I am the department chair for behavioral and social sciences, and I'm also a full-time instructor of criminal justice. So today, co-hosting the event with me is Dr. Christopher Alves, who's our program coordinator for the criminal justice program. So we are very, very happy and excited to have and host you all here. I'm sure many of our students, Dr. Alves, have logged in for today's event. We've got a wonderful panel for you today. And I hope that you guys have come ready with your questions. You're ready to get those really just any concerns or fears or hesitations that you have about entering the law enforcement career pathway, that you've come ready and prepared to address those questions to our panelists. So let's get started. I'm going to hand over the reins to Dr. Christopher Alves, once again, our coordinator for our criminal justice program. Thank you, Dr. Alves.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce our first panelist today. He's from one of the 6 major law enforcement agencies here with the Department of Justice. Special Agent Bernardo Anzaldúa is here from the Drug Enforcement Agency from the DEA. So give him your attention and welcome Special Agent Anzaldúa.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. My name is Bernie Anzaldúa. I'm actually an agent with the DEA out of the McAllen office. Here is my partner, Marisol Farias. She's also an agent with the DEA here in McAllen. We're the local recruiters for the area. So if you all have any questions, by all means, ask us. We'll try to answer any questions you all have.
Good morning to everybody. Thank you for having us.
All right, fantastic. So what we'd like to do is, if we could, Agent Anzaldúa, can you give us a little bit of detail about what your everyday duties entail?
So basically, our everyday duties, it's a little bit different from an ordinary job. We come in, we have certain hours that we come in. You can plan out your day if you want to, but sometimes it's not gonna happen like that. So let's say we say, well, we're gonna come in and do paperwork. That's what we're intended to do that for that day. That's what we intend to do that for that day. But unfortunately, something might come up. We have to go do surveillance, or we have to help another northern office or another office. Sometimes meetings come up. Sometimes we have to go do surveillance, or we have to go arrest people. It just comes up. So our day is a little bit different from other people's days. You know, it's never the same every day. So basically, we here what we do is we conduct complex narcotics investigations. So we try to go as high as we can as far as narcotic traffickers. We do a lot of surveillance. We do a lot of paperwork. A lot of people don't believe what you see on TV. A lot of people believe that it's on TV that you just go and what they call kick in doors, arrest people, and that's it. No, in law enforcement, there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be created. And all that paperwork, what it does, it goes to the prosecutors. Without any paperwork, without any evidence, you can't prosecute any people, you know? So that's our ordinary, our day, you know? So that's basically what we do, you know, on an everyday. So any questions?
We had a question coming in. Can you tell us what are some of the requirements? What are the requirements to become a DEA agent?
Okay, so basically you need a 4-year degree from an accredited college. It doesn't matter what degree you have, what major you have, or what you area of study. DEA is kind of very diverse type of agency. We have, for example, we have what they call groups. We have 4 groups in McAllen. We have 2 enforcement groups. We have a HIDA group, and we have a strike force group. In my group, I'm having an enforcement group. So basically, we have 2 attorneys. They're former attorneys. They came in with DA and they became agents. Myself, I have a finance degree. We have other people that have criminal justice degrees. We have people that have psychological degrees and so forth. Some of the requirements, you have to have that degree. A 3.0 and above is required. It's what they want, a 3.0 degree. If you don't have a 3.0 GPA or above, if you speak a foreign language, that will suffice. You know, it depends. But you got to make sure that the applicant needs to make themselves aware that you are competing against a lot of people. So if an individual or another applicant has a 3.0 or 3.2 and they speak a foreign language, well, they're kind of ahead of the game. If you have a 2.5 and you speak a foreign language, well, who's the better candidate? You know what I mean? Not in my eyes, but in the DEA's eyes. So, but also they've changed the rules a little bit. If you are a police officer or a narcotics officer that has worked like with DEA, you've been what is called a task force officer with DEA or HSI, or I'm not sure if DPS has any TFOs, but FBI, and you have like substantial narcotics investigations and you work some large cases, that'll substitute for the degree. But you have to have the experience, and it has to be in your application process. You have to be under 37 before appointment. Okay, so if you go to the academy, you have to be either just turn 37 or below. If you're over 37, then we'll take you, unless you're like a former Border Patrol agent or you came from another agency that was under a covered position. What else? You have to have a very clean record because you have to hold a top secret clearance. Okay, if you don't have it, and you have to maintain that top secret clearance. Okay, you have to be in good physical shape because we do give a PT test. And I would say, and I think my partner can attest to this, the majority of the applicants don't continue with the application because they can't pass the PT test. So you take a PT test. If you fail the PT test, they'll give you another opportunity to take another PT test. And if you fail it again, then you're out of the process. So if you really want to do this job, like I said, I would say like 70% of the applicants that come through DEA and they go through the PT test can't pass the PT test. So I think it's important for them. If you really want the job, you will train for that PT test. It's hard like anything else, but if you want the job, you will apply yourself. You have to go through a polygraph exam. If you go through the polygraph exam, just make sure you're truthful. You don't want to fail that polygraph exam. What else? And also, they started a new pilot program. The pilot program was basically back when me and Marisol came in, 2 weeks prior to graduation, they will tell you where you're going to go, what duty station you're going to. So they will give you a list, and that list had 40 offices or 50 offices, how many applicants, how many trainees we had at the academy, and you would choose 3 top picks. It wasn't guaranteed that you were going to get that top pick. So if you had Miami, Miami, New York, California, and you chose one of those, doesn't mean that you're going to get that position. DEA has the authority to pick the position they want for you. Now, they've changed that a little bit, and this benefits the new applicants that are coming in. And it's been happening for maybe like, what, 2 or 3 years already?
2 years.
About 2 years. So now what they're doing is they're allowing you to select a location that you would like to go to. So if we're under the Houston division, so Houston divisions are our main boss is up in Houston division. Of course, our main boss is in Washington. Well, our main boss is in Houston. The SAC, which is our boss, he's in charge of like 9 or 10 offices. Okay, they'll ask you like, where do you want to go? Say, well, we have a lot of applicants. They'll say, well, I want to come back to McAllen. Well, I want to go to Brownsville. Then you fall under the Houston division. They'll allow you to select 3 positions from the Houston division. So if McAllen's not open or Brownsville's open, most likely you're going to go to Brownsville. It's not a guarantee, but most likely you're going to go to Brownsville. And the reason they started this pilot program is because we were having applicants that were going to the academy. Then 2 weeks prior to graduation, they say, okay, well, you're going to Laredo. And the issue was this person or this applicant was either from New York, Ohio, and they've never been to the southern border. So they would quit at the academy. It's like, oh, I'm not going to go over there. So the government was losing a lot of money because the people were quitting. But to me, what's more important that you just took somebody's job. So if somebody wanted to go to Laredo, it didn't matter if they were from New York or from Georgia, whatever. They wanted to go to Laredo. Now they lost that opportunity because you went over there, you went to the academy, and you chose not to take the job. So that's one of the benefits now in reference to the process. So you take a psychological exam, like I said, PT exam, and an extensive background, okay? Because you have to obtain and maintain a top secret clearance. So,
awesome, thank you. We've got quite a bit of questions coming in the chat box. Students are very excited. One question came in, where is the academy located?
The academy is located at in
Quantico,
Virginia.
It's about 16 weeks.
It's about 16 weeks. It's in Quantico, Virginia. There's only 2 agencies there at that academy, and that's going to be DEA and FBI. So we're like brother and sister. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what and it's about 16 weeks, like they said, like my partner said.
Okay. We have another question coming in. Looks like students are excited about the PT test. I have a question coming in from Hillary that's saying, where could we go to get training for the PT test?
If you log into the DA website, it'll I think there's like a link in there that it tells you what the PT process is all about. So basically, you're gonna have sit-ups, push-ups, 300-meter sprint, and a 1.5 miles. It's changed. That's the new PT exam. When me and her came in, we had to do pull-ups, sit-ups, push-ups, 120-yard shuttle run, and a 2-mile run. So they went away from that. They got rid of the pull-ups, and they got away from the shuttle run. So now, like I said, they have sit-ups, push-ups, 300-meter run, and well, it's actually a sprint, and a 1.5 miles. If you go into the website, you can actually there's a link, and it'll tell you how many points you need for each event. There's 4 events. You need at least 12 points to pass, okay? But that will not get you to the academy. You need at least 15 points to go to the academy. Because when you get to the academy, some people find it a little bit tougher, you know? You have to get 1 point in each event. You can't get to, well, you know what, I did the run and I got 8 points, and then I did the push-ups and I did 5 points, but I failed the sit-ups. No, you have to get at least 1 point per event. And it has to be 12 total to pass, but you need at least 15 to go to the academy.
Let me just add something to that, ma'am. Whenever they apply, there's a link that they would send their information to. The recruiter in Houston would send them documents and stuff like that. One of those documents includes everything they have to do as far as the PT, and he would also tell them how to train for it as well. But obviously, people need to be in physical shape as far as running, doing push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, the basic stuff pretty much.
The way I trained for the PT test, I only did what I needed to do. If I had like I said, back then was the pull-ups. So I did pull-ups, a lot of pull-ups. I did a lot of sit-ups. I did a lot of push-ups. I worked on my shuttle run, because I've always been a runner, so I didn't have issues with the run. So that's what I would recommend to any applicant that would want to apply with DA. Just apply yourself to those events. That's what I would tell them.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. We have another question in from Evelyn Manriquez, and she's asking, do you need a certain type of experience to join the DEA, or is the education component all that's required?
So you need actually the degree, and they want you to have a little bit of experience. It doesn't have to be in law enforcement, as long as you've had some type of employment. You know, it doesn't have to be, well, I worked for the sheriff's department for like 5 years and I got my degree. No. As long as you got a little bit of experience, you should be okay. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, that's okay. Thank you. Another question. Does the DEA at any point hire or work with social workers?
We don't, to be honest with you, I've never worked with a social worker. I'm not sure if Marisol has.
We do have situations where we have to call social workers. So I'm gonna say yes, and if they wanted to apply, like Bernie said earlier, it could be any degree. So as long as you have a degree, you can apply with us. Okay, so yes.
So that answers the next question. Thank you. They were saying if you don't have a major in criminal justice, as long as they pass the exams, and really any degree is applicable for the
Yes,
DEA.
any degree.
Any degree.
Yeah, and we have
Awesome.
people there, attorneys here. We have people there, different kinds of fields, so.
And the reason that the DEA is so diverse is because when you have a diverse group, everybody brings something different to the table. That's the way they look at it. Everybody thinks different. So if you have a social degree, a psychological degree, a law degree, a finance degree, everybody brings something different to the table. And that's why they're so diverse. Yes, ma'am.
Right. Awesome. Thank you. So Diego was asking here, Diego Garcia is asking, will the associate degree work? No, Diego, you have to have the 4-year degree, as Agent Alcadillo was saying, as long as you have a 4-year degree. But he was explaining that any major is going to work for the DEA. So that's a great way to have diversity and inclusivity within their agency, which is what everybody is aiming to do at this point. We'll take one more question here. It's from Diego Garcia again. It says, what if you are being honest when taking the polygraph and then you fail it? What do you recommend?
That's a good question, because trust me, and I think she can attest to this. The polygraph I had never gone through a polygraph until I went to DEA. And that was probably the part that I hated the most. All right. And the reason I'm saying is that because you're being honest and it seems like you're not being truthful. Do you know what I mean? Like, they make it seem like you're not being truthful. I'm not sure what to tell you on that question. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. It all depends on the polygrapher. So they'll to be honest with you, I've seen where people have like kind of failed it. They think they failed it, but then they'll call you again and say, you know what, you need to retake the polygraph. So they give you a second try. Not all the time. I think it's in different circumstances. Like, for example, in my case, they said, well, we don't know if you passed. They tell you that, like, well, we don't know if you passed. We'll call you within 2 weeks and that you might have to retake the test. It's all right. They never call me again. So it's like little tricks that they play. I don't know. I'm not a polygrapher, but it's just one of those little things that I can't really answer, I don't know what the polygrapher is going to say, but to me, I think the polygraph was the most hardest part of the process.
Sure.
I think I want to add to that. It's on a case by case basis. So everybody's different. And obviously when they get exposed to the polygraphs and people get nervous and stuff like that, the polygrapher would talk to them and obviously find some kind of medium or something, how they do that stuff. And then after, they find out if they failed or, they passed, they would go based on that and see what other options they have,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, I would imagine that that's one of the hardest things besides the PT test. So thank you. I knew there was going to be a lot of questions on that particular subject. I know our students, are very curious about how those experiences work.
I think I just want to add that you just got to be truthful, just got to be truthful, whenever they ask those questions. And that's you know, if you're truthful, I don't think you'll have any issues at all. You know.
Honesty is the best policy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'd like to thank the Drug Enforcement Agency for being here with us today. I knew the chat box was going to be lighting up on fire with questions for you guys and for you and your counterpart there. So I want to thank you all very much for joining us and answering our questions today. Like I said, y'all's agency is very, very popular with our students. So thank you all for being here today. Are there any final questions in the chat box for the DEA before we let them go? I think some have been coming in, but our moderators have been doing a good job and y'all have been answering those as you all have been addressing the questions. All right, well, thank you so much to the DEA for joining us. We love your support. Thank you for supporting TSC students and the Scorpion family. So thank you all for being here today.
Thank you very much for the invite. We appreciate it. I know we've gone out there several times. Unfortunately, you know, not this time around, but we really appreciate the invite. Thank you very much.
We're happy to be there. You know, if hopefully this coming year, you know, you guys have it again, we will be more than happy to attend and, you know, help out the students with anything that we can. This is actually our first one that we do like this because we were not doing any at all. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you guys. And thank you all for being here. We're definitely going to keep you all in our Rolodex of resources and community partners. So thank you all so much again.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yes, of course. At this point, I'll hand it over to Dr. Alves to introduce our next speaker. Go ahead, Dr. Alves.
Okay, our next speaker is from the Texas Department of Public Safety. She is a state trooper. Her name is Sergeant Desiree Salcedo. So Ms. Salcedo, welcome to Texas Southmost College. We'd love to have you here.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me. So my name is Desiree Salcedo. I am a sergeant in recruiting with Texas Department of Public Safety. I have been with DPS going on 9 years, so the time has flown by. Just to go ahead and jump into the presentation, I'm going to share my screen. I would like to show a 1-minute video. Hopefully you're able to see it and it's not distorted. So give me just a second. Okay. Okay, so my screen is still sharing, so I can't really see everybody. Were y'all able to see the video and can you still hear me? Can I get Mr. Vino, can you give me a thumbs up?
Yes, we can hear you. Everything looks good.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so so that video was just to show you a little of the different positions that DPS has. So just to kind of start from the basics, in order to become a state trooper, in order to qualify, you have to be a US citizen. You need to at least be 20 years of age in order to apply. You want to make sure you turn 21 years of age before you graduate the academy. We have no maximum age limit, so you can be however old, as long as you're older than 21 or 20 technically when you apply. And we look for good moral character. Now, you want to make sure you have at least 60 college hours or an associate's degree, or 2 years of active duty in the US military, or 2 years as a full-time peace officer or federal agent, or 6 years in the National Guard or Reserve, or 730 retirement points. So as long as you have one of those, then you meet the qualifications to apply. Now, we are currently taking applications. The last day to apply is July 1st. Once you apply, then you will receive an automated email letting you know now you only have 30 days to submit the required forms and to take the physical fitness test. The physical fitness test, the reading and math exam is the very first thing that you do. So I always suggest do not apply unless you're ready to take the physical fitness test, the reading and math exam. So even if you apply the end of June, you're still going to be okay. Now you won't have 30 days, let's say if you apply July 1st, because the deadline for the fitness and the written exams to be taken is July 15th. So if you apply, June 1st, then you want to make sure, or you will end up getting tested no later than July 15th. Now, how you were selected is you were ranked. So we rank you. Once you go through the 10-step hiring process, we then select you based off of how high you scored on the fitness test, the reading and math exam. So everyone's treated the same regardless of your background, whether that's military, law enforcement, or college. It comes down to your scores. So it is crucial that you score as high as you can on the fitness test, the reading and math exam. Now, the fitness test is a 1.5 mile run. You will rest 20 minutes, then you will row 500 meters on a Concept 2 row machine. The times is based off of your age and gender for the run and the row. Now, we do average the two together. So if you are a great runner, but not really good at rowing, as long as you average at least 70%, then that means you pass and you will be allowed to take the reading exam. The reading exam, it has changed from previous years. Now you only get 4 minutes to answer 10 questions. So you're going to get 2 stories, 5 questions per story. It's comprehensive. Read the story, then answer the questions. The questions has to do with the story. You want to make sure you pass with at least a 70. If you do, then you'll be given the math exam. The math exam, you only get 4 minutes to answer 20 questions, and you cannot use a calculator. And it's over basic math, just goes up to high school math, which is adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, decimals, percentages, and word problems. So we no longer have fractions on our math exam, which was causing most of our applicants to fail the math test. Now, you want to pass on the first attempt. So if you fail something, you will be given a second chance. So let's say you pass the PT, you pass the reading, you fail the math. You can retest, but when you retest, that score is just recorded as a pass or fail. So if you get a 40 on the math exam the first time, then you get 100 the second time, that 100 is just recorded as a pass. That 40 is just the final score that we utilize to rank you. So again, you want to pass on the first attempt. Let's say when you retest, you take the math exam and you fail again, right? So now you're disqualified for 6 months before you can reapply, which will take you out of the process for that school, and you would have to wait to apply to the next school. We always start the process a year out. So the applications that we're accepting is for the January 2022 school. Now, I recently received an email that there may possibly be a second school for 2020. And if so, then the application process will start in September, this September, for the B 2022 school. Once that's finalized, then the website will be updated. But as of right now, we definitely are having a January 2022 school. So just to talk a little about the process. So you're going to apply online, you're going to submit the required forms. When you submit the required forms, it's so important that you read the instructions. I know you're thinking, well, yeah, duh. But believe it or not everyone reads the instructions. So on the RC4A, that's a packet where your background investigation comes from. On the very first page, it tells you if something doesn't apply to you, write NA in the blank, not to leave it blank. So when you submit your application and I'm reviewing it, if I see nothing but blanks because it doesn't apply to you, and if you didn't write NA, then it's noted that you do not know how to follow written instructions. So please make sure you follow the instructions, because little stuff like that is what we pay attention to. So you submit the paperwork, you test on the fitness exam, the reading, the math, you pass. The next step is going to be the polygraph exam. So with the polygraph exam, if you fail it, then you have to wait 1 year before you can apply again. So some of your questions were for DEA, what if I fail the polygraph exam? Well, there's several ways you could fail it. One, you lie, so deception's indicated. Two, you try to cheat the test. So our examiners, they're very good at their jobs. They know when you're trying to cheat the exam. So that could cause you to fail. And then the third one is you were completely honest. So no deception indicated. However, your admissions is what caused you to fail the polygraph stage. So I like to use the example, let's say you committed aggravated robbery, right? But you were never convicted because, well, you haven't been caught yet. Well, we don't want someone like that working for our department. So you're not going to get selected. You won't be recommended for employment. That's an example as far as failing a polygraph. Of course, you need to be completely honest, right? And I know other questions I get from college students is, what if drug usage? What if I, used to smoke marijuana? Well, what we look at is a pattern of drug usage. If you tried marijuana in high school, in college you tried ecstasy, let's say your freshman year, and then your senior year you tried acid. Well, that's a pattern of drug usage. Even though each drug, it was a completely different drug, it's still a pattern of drug usage. So that will disqualify you. And we usually recommend that you wait a couple of years to prove that you're not a drug user before you apply again. So after the polygraph stage, you will then meet with me again and we'll do an interview. So I ask you standard questions based off of your polygraph admissions and the paperwork that you submitted to me. After that, you will then go to Austin for 2 days for a vision, medical, and psychological exam. If you fail the polygraph, the interview, the medical or psychological, basically anything beyond the PT, the reading and math exam, you have to wait 1 year before you can apply again. So after the vision, medical, psychological, then you're going to have a background investigation done and a home interview where a trooper and a sergeant goes out to your residence and meets with you and your family. And then after that, you will have to take the exact same PT test a second time. And with that one, again, if you fail, you do have to wait 1 year. You want to score the same, if not higher. And the reason we now require a second PT test is in the past, we had applicants take the initial PT test and pass. They go through all 10 steps of the hiring process. They get selected. And on day one of recruit school, when you get tested again, they fail and they were getting sent home. So some people were moving from different states. They were quitting their job. They were moving their family just to be sent home. So to hold you accountable, we now require a second PT test. And as far as preparing for that, they're on our website, so dps.texas.gov. If you go to the training and operations division, click on that link, or even the recruiting home under fitness requirements and the preparation tab, we have workouts that you can do at home to prepare you. My personal recommendation is if you can do CrossFit or if you can do a couple of Orange Theory workouts, that's going to prepare you for the academy, because we do a lot of high intensity workouts, Tabata, as many rounds as possible, lots of cardio and endurance. That's going to prepare you for the academy as well as the fitness test. So after you take the second fitness test, then we rank you. So that's when we average your PT, your reading, and your math score together. Again, whoever has the highest will get in. So Whoever scored 95 to 100 gets in first, 90, 95, 85 to 90, so on and so forth. We do take about 150 recruits for each school, and we usually have anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 applicants apply, not just from the state of Texas. We get a lot of applications out of state. And that's not to say, oh my gosh, I would never get selected. You can get selected, you just have to prepare. And we see that you prepare when you come in and you have high scores on the PT and the written exams. Now, a little about the Academy. So the Academy is located in Austin. It is 28 weeks long. There is a possibility that the school might be less, like it may not be as long, and that's because of COVID. I know with the Academy that graduated just last summer, it was only 24 weeks long. We just had to do all the TCO mandated classes, and then those troopers have to go back at a later time to get the rest of the training. So I'm not 100% how the A 2022 school will be, but for the most part, it is 28 weeks. So you're there in Austin, you live there. Every Sunday, you're gonna report at a certain time, depending on whatever time your counselor told you on Friday. So you're there from Sunday to Friday. On Friday at 5 o'clock, you get released. You can go home for the weekend or you can stay there in the barracks. But on Friday before you release, your counselors will tell you, hey, be back Sunday, at noon, and you want to make sure you're back at that time. It's very long hours. We are paramilitary, so it is like boot camp. Your mornings start around 4 a.m. You have PT for about 2 hours, and then you have class time. And then after sitting in the classroom for so many hours, learning all of state laws and DPS policy, you then have arrest control tactics, which is more cardio, so more like PT in the afternoon, and then you do it all over again. You get woken up throughout the night. It's kind of like some boot camp videos you've seen. It's kind of like that, yelling and screaming and on your face and roll over and all that, except of course we don't degrade you or put our hands on you. How to prepare for the Academy? Well, I prepared by waking up early in the morning. I stopped drinking caffeine because you aren't allowed to have any caffeine. It's just water and milk that's given to you, because we do give you 3 meals a day. And we do pay you to attend our Academy. So all you have to do is show up. There are a couple of items that you will have to buy for the Academy, but we do give you uniforms and everything that you're gonna need to become a state trooper. We do give all that to you. But yeah, so wake up early in the morning, no more caffeine. I had my brothers yell at me and scream at me so I could get used to all that hollering, and just work out at all the hours of the day, whether it's early in the morning, hot outside. Of course, if it's hot outside, build yourself up to work in that heat. Just don't go work out in 90-degree weather if you've never done that before. And then also work out in the evening, because you don't know what the temperature is going to be like in Austin. So you want to make sure your body's used to all temperatures. During the 4th week of the Academy, you will be given a wish list. You get to choose 3 locations where you wish to go. Ultimately, you are stationed based off of the needs of the department. Now, you only have to do the first 12 months where you were assigned. So let's say you're from the Valley, right? But you're stationed in Austin. You only have to do the first 12 months there. Then after that, you can put in a transfer to transfer wherever you would like to go, as long as there is a vacancy. Or if you like it, you can stay there. You don't ever have to leave. Let's see what else.
Sergeant Salcido, we have a couple questions.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, they're coming in through the chat box.
Okay.
2 questions. The first one is there an age limit? And the second question is, if someone has been diagnosed with a mental illness or ADHD or some other chronic illness, are they disqualified immediately?
So because I am not a medical doctor, I cannot answer that. Everyone would just go through the screening, and when he or she gets to that medical portion, that's when that can be discussed.
Okay. Is there an age limit? What's the other question?
There's no age limit.
Okay. Gotcha. Very good. Okay, thank you. That was a lot of fantastic, great information. I know our students have always have a lot of questions about the requirements to get in. And with anything with law enforcement, every agency has their own requirements of what's needed from their end, and place different priorities, right, on different areas. So thank you so much for sharing that information. Let's see if there are any more questions. If you have anything else, Sergeant Salcido, go ahead. Feel free to move forward.
I was just gonna post my business card. So if anyone had questions, they can call me, email me, send me a text. So give me just a second.
Yeah, perfect. That's fantastic. All of our attendees, I encourage you to take advantage of what she's going to put up on the screen right now. Okay, and that's going to, oh, there we go. Perfect. Sergeant Salcido, we see the card. Thank you so much for doing that. Please note that we have her office number there and even her mobile. So please make note of these critical informations. Okay. We also have a couple more questions. We have a student coming in, or a question coming in that says, if I have Explorer experience, would that count as well for experience? Are you familiar with the Explorer program?
I am. That's with Border Patrol. So that would help once you are a trooper and you're dealing with the public and you're put in, different situations. But as far as using that to qualify, no, it would either have to be the college, the law enforcement, or military time.
Got it. Very good. Okay. Okay, we have another question coming in. Are there any cases where you have been assisted by social workers? Do you work with any particular agency when needed?
Probably the same as DEA. I can tell you in one of my experiences, I made an arrest and there were children in the vehicle. So I did call CPS and a social worker came out. So I think that's I would think that's kind of the same across the board for law enforcement. Anytime there's children involved, then, a social worker will come out to get information and to take custody of the children.
Got it. Very good. Excellent. Okay. Another question coming into the chat box. If you're stationed in the Valley, is the patrol area broken in sections, or how does it work?
So we are based off duty stations. Now you can live within 30 air miles of your assigned duty station. So if let's say you're stationed in McAllen, but you live in Edinburgh, as long as you're within 30 air miles, then you don't have to move. There are some other duty stations like Rio Grande City where the housing is limited, so they get 50 air miles. So most of them live in Mission or La Jolla, and then they're stationed in Rio Grande City.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And then last question. Does it matter how big the department is for the peace officer?
I'm not sure if I understand. So we are a state agency. We do have state jurisdiction. So and that's one of the things I love about DPS is, let's say my husband is also in law enforcement. Let's say he decides to promote and he becomes, he gets a position in Wichita Falls. Well, then I could just transfer. I don't actually have to quit my job and start all over again.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Sergeant Salcido. It looks like that's the last of our questions here coming in. I want to thank you. If you could stop your screen share, please. Thank you so much. I hope everybody wrote that down. This is critical information, and you'll all have firsthand access to these fantastic agents and officers here today. And we are recording the session, so you'll be able to find the information again on our socials in the event that you missed it or joined in late. So I want to again thank you, Sergeant Salcido, for being here. I know we've been working together every year for quite a bit now, and I know several years passed at our past law enforcement events. virtual, or excuse me, expos, you brought the helicopter down. So our campus always looks forward to that. So hopefully we'll be able to do that next year. Thank you again for being here. It's much appreciated. Thank you for supporting your students.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Awesome. Okay, moving on. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next panelist. Go ahead, Dr. Alves.
Okay, our next panelist is from the Criminal Justice Institute here at Texas Southmost College. We do have a police academy that is attached to our institution. The head of that academy is Miss Wilhelmina Edwards, and she will be speaking to you today about the CJI. Miss Edwards, are you there?
I am. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen. So I'm not going to put my video on first. I'll share my screen first. It's going to answer a lot of the questions that they may have, and then I can go back and answer more specific questions. So give me
Okay, thank you so much.
The Criminal Justice Program at Texas Southmost College gives you all of the courses that are required by the state of Texas so that you are ready and prepared to have your license. And once you have successfully completed that, you are eligible to become a peace officer in the state of Texas. This program will offer the cadet experience. It gives them some practical application of all the academic things they will learn, like the laws, the legal process, whether it's civil, whether it's criminal. They get the opportunity to work with trainers and instructors from some of the local agencies.
Slide over, then fire how many? On the ground, do it now! I'll say he's down!
I currently serve as the presiding officer for the advisory board for the Criminal Justice Institute at Texas Southmost College. We see locally raised students have an opportunity to attain a basic peace officer's certification course without them having to leave town. TSC, Criminal Justice Institute, is a resource to the law enforcement agencies. The majority, if not all of the cadets that were interviewed, and then some that were later hired by this department, came from the Criminal Justice Institute at TSC. And I can see that the product that they were putting out, that the quality of the cadet was very high.
I understand you are a recent graduate of our Texas Southmost College Police Academy. Tell me about that.
I would say it's more like a family bonding. With most of the cadets in the academy, I still keep in touch with them.
It's an 8-hour training for 6 months. These are people you bond with. These are going to be your partners. These are going to be your maybe one day sergeants, chiefs, lieutenants, and just the simple fact that we're already forming that bond here and having to study together. That in itself has been amazing because not only do you get an experience for yourself as in learning and you become an officer, but you get to build these bonds with other officers or future officers that are going to be graduating with you.
I've always wanted to do this since being a little kid. My dad is in law enforcement, so I guess seeing him get ready for work every day, and as a kid, I just thought it was really awesome.
And don't let anything stop you. People might tell you you're a girl. Why should you be doing this? You're supposed to stay at home. You're supposed to do girl stuff. Hey, this is girl stuff too.
And for people who feel like intimidated as to coming to the academy, it's really not once you break it down. As if you have the right mindset and you're willing to put in the work, then you can do it.
To someone who's curious about law enforcement or starting a career in law enforcement, what I would say first is to do a little research. Go to your local agency and ask, can you observe, ride around, sign up to ride with officers in patrol to see if you're interested. And then if you find that you are, I would say come to Texas Southmost College and talk to our staff to get the specific information that you need to apply to the academy.
Okay. Hopefully everybody could hear and see that.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Edwards. That was a fantastic video. Go ahead. Feel free to talk a little bit about the Institute, about yourself, and I will field questions from the chat box.
Okay. Well, so our academy pretty much, oh, hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Another video I wanted to play. So here at the CJI, or the Criminal Justice Institute, which is our regional police academy. We are a regional police academy that is offered through Texas Southmost College. We are a continuing we have a continuing education format, which means we are in a different department than our criminal justice program, which offers the associate's degrees. So we give you the practical application. We have an associate's degree that our academy, where you can obtain your hours to complete a associate's of applied science in criminal justice as well. So we have a dual program. We have a program where you can enter the academy regionally, and also you can enter as a pre-hire for either Brownsville Police Department or Harlingen Police Department. So we provide the training for those academies as well. So if you're hired by them prior to the academy starting, then you are paid to be in the academy, much like Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, and some of the larger agencies. You are actually hired to be here every day from 8 to 5. As you can see in the video, the young lady and the young man who were interviewed were pre-hires for Brownsville at that time. One is still a Brownsville officer. I believe the other is now actually working with DEA on some task force. So we are kind of the launching pad for criminal justice. Same requirements, 20 and a half to apply. We have 3 academies a year. One starts in January, graduates in June. One starts in July, graduates in December. And then we have a part-time academy that runs from January through December. That is a total of, I believe, 88 cadets per year. And we've been pretty successful thus far with passing the academy and also the state exam, which comes right after you complete the 6-month academy. We have the same hiring standards as the police agencies. You do have to have a local background check. We do a state and national background check. We do not have a polygraph, but you do have to pass a medical and a psychological exam. And you have to turn in all of the required documents, transcripts if you have college. If you're high school diploma, we have to have your high school diploma or your transcripts. You can actually even have a GED as long as you have the required documents, and all of that is processed. We send off documents to our agencies that do the checks for mostly the backgrounds to make sure everybody clears or passes as they would, because putting you in the academy and not making sure that you can also pass the entry applications and exams and physical fitness for the agencies that would be hiring you would be a disservice. So we try to make sure that we have that balanced before you move on to interviewing for the agencies. We have about 30 hiring agencies. We go, majority are hired here in the Rio Grande Valley. We have a scattering, I guess you would say, as far as Austin, San Antonio, Waco, and I believe one young man is right outside Fort Worth. So we've gone as far as Fort Worth with some of our applicants. We have maybe 7 to 10 that are outside the valley. But I've been here since 2017, and we've graduated over 200 cadets. So most of them are working here in the Rio Grande Valley. In fact, a funny story, had one pull me over when I was coming back down to the Rio Grande Valley last weekend. And it was quite interesting conversation that we had.
That's hilarious. That's funny.
Yeah, he was completely taken off guard because I wasn't in my normal car.
Yeah. So, okay, Ms. Edwards, we have a question coming in. I think you've pretty much answered it, but I'll go ahead and ask anyway. This is from Steven Cepeda. Hey, Steven, he's in my class. The question is, I'm going to graduate this December. How can we join the academy? I guess he's asking about the time frame. And also, he's asking, do we have to pay to join, or will Brownsville PD sponsor me?
To be sponsored by a police department, let's cover that part. You actually have to apply. You would have to take their civil service exam. You would have to take their fitness exam. And just like a regular DPS or San Antonio or a larger agency, you're on a list and they go down through the background checks and they select you based on your rank on that list. As they add you to their list, if you're at the top of the list, when our next academy starts, they roll you into that academy class. And Harlingen does the same thing. So you actually go through their hiring process instead of submitting your documents to the academy. Now, you can do both, dual. You can submit documents to the academy. You can also apply to one of those two agencies, and that gives you 3 different opportunities to get into the academy. We also have a third way to be sponsored, and that's through Workforce Solutions. So you can come in as a walk-in and not a pre-hire. And if you meet their eligibility requirements, because we refer all of our applicants to them that are not already sponsored by police agencies, you may benefit from that. And some of the cadets, actually a large majority of the cadets, are sponsored 100% by Workforce Solutions.
Excellent. That's great. I didn't know that about Workforce. That's fantastic to know. We have another question coming in from Jesus Garcia. The question is, if I graduate in May, do I still qualify to join? I think he's probably asking about the timeline to start, when he can start the next class.
You can start your paperwork before you graduate. Okay. So what I would recommend, because if you graduate in May, that would make you eligible for the July class if you are 20 and a half. You have to be 20 and a half and turn 21 before you take your state exam. So during the academy. So if you meet those age requirements, I see you said you're 22. If you meet those age requirements, then you start turning in your paperwork. So send an email, and I'm going to put it in it's on the website, but I'm also going to put it here. Send an email to that email address, and we will send out the documents straight to you that you need to fill out, and an instruction sheet of information, step by step, what you will need to do and what we will do following you turning in those documents. But if you're planning for the July class, I would say send that email as soon as possible so you can start getting into us the documents that you need. We will start you through the qualification process, and you could be qualified for the academy prior to graduation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Edwards. All right. Any other questions? It looks like we got everybody in. like I said, we have some wonderful community partners, but also partners within TSC, and the Criminal Justice Institute is a fantastic place to start your foundation if that's where you wish to become, if that's your career pathway to become a police officer. So thank you, Ms. Edwards. I know your academy is very successful. So again, everyone, please make note of that email address that Ms. Edwards typed in the chat box. Feel free to shoot her an email. She'll send you all the information that you need in order to get started, or even if it's just seeking out information to kind of put feelers out there and see what, you know, what this could possibly bring for you as a career opportunity. Thank you, Ms. Edwards, for joining us here today. And again, always, we appreciate your support of our students. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. All right, awesome. Moving on to our next panelist. Go ahead, Dr. Alves.
Thank you. Our next panelist is Chief Oscar Garcia from the Brownsville Independent School District. Chief Garcia, are you with us?
Good morning. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Good morning, sir.
Top of the morning to everybody. So first things first, I am very pleased to be here this morning with all of you to share some information from our police department, security police department here at Brownsville ISD PD. So this is always an exciting time because we get to share the information that obviously is always very fluid in school district policing in the state of Texas. It's relatively new here in the Rio Grande Valley. We're very fortunate to have started the police department back in 1992. We were the first ISD police department in the Rio Grande Valley. Before I get into other detail, that we just celebrated that milestone. So I'm very proud of the men and women that serve not only in our police department, but we also have a very, very vibrant and large security force that also complement the school safety program here at BISD. Before I also have this morning with me Sergeant Cindy Paz. She's our special program coordinator, and she'll talk a little bit about the special programs that we offer in this department. And everything that we do, everything that we accomplish and we do is for student safety. Everything that we try to accomplish, you know, is zero in and focused on student safety. So having said that, I'd just like to quickly state that over the last several years, this department has made tremendous reforms in the technology, including the federal mandate Project 25, our radio communication program, upgrade all of our radio communication and the state-of-the-art CCTV surveillance equipment district-wide. One of the things that we do here at BISD is really promote, like I said, student safety in regards to cameras. Every single campus in this district, to include facilities, to include any other building within the jurisdiction of Brownsville Independent School District, has a CCTV program. So we're very, very fortunate to have that. The Brownsville ISD Police Department is comprised of currently we're authorized 59 police officers. Within the department, within that group, we also have our command staff. It's the command staff leadership team is Chief Garcia. We have Commander Patrick Gabbard and our police sergeants. We currently have a sergeant assigned to the criminal investigation services. We also have a records supervisor, and of course our communications unit, which is also led by our records sergeant. The department is a 24/7, 365-year police department. We are here around the clock, 24/7. We're here during the holiday season. We just wrapped up our Easter weekend. We've been holding the line. Currently, you know, as we know, we don't have face-to-face per se. Those students that do come to school, we have police officers assigned to all of our high schools. We have a police officer assigned to every middle school, and including our security staff. I have a quick slide that we're showing here. It gives you a quick overview of what we're doing. And as we move forward, these are the special programs that we currently offer. One of the special program that I believe is super important is our biannual Safe School Parent Academy. And in this academy, we bring our parents to the department to participate in safety programs. These programs actually are designed for and are geared for age-appropriate students. And what happens when they do come to our training program, the parents get an inside view. We get to share with them our stories, the sex stories, and some of the special programs that we do offer our students through our safety program division. We also talk to our parents about community emergency response team training. This is a very, very important program that we offer all of our parents when they come into the Safe School Parent Academy. We are a TICO Academy training provider, meaning that this department has been just recently awarded a continuation education program, allows our police officers to come in and do TICO hours. And we do communicate very frequently with our partners at TICO, Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Standards, and they are at the forefront of all of our certifications. So we do very heavy training here. That is actually the centerpiece of the police department, the fact that we offer continuing education. And of course, we communicate with and train as often as we can with our partners over at the Police Academy, the Texas Alamos College Academy with Ms. Wilhelmina's program. And like I said, our communication center is currently active 24/7, 24 hours a day. If there's anything that we need to respond, our police officers are ready to respond to those needs. We have canine unit. Our canine unit is currently comprised of 3 canine officers. We're very fortunate to have two of those 3 officers are state certified instructors, and they do offer under the canine program advanced training programs to other agencies as needed. But our canine program is very active. They come in and they do a lot of our safety programs, as you can see, at our elementary schools. They're very popular. They're very popular district-wide, but they do provide an extra layer of safety and security throughout the year. And just a brief, you can see our community outreach program that includes the Safe School Parent Academy, as I was stating earlier. We have a summer bike rodeo. Currently, our summer bike rodeo programs have been put on hold. Hopefully this summer, things get a little better. We may reintroduce this program. It's a very, very good program for all our kids right after they leave for the summer. We bring them in for a really good program, the summer bike rodeo. We have the child exploitation investigative task force. We have 3 members of this team that are currently assigned to HSI local task force. They're specialized trained investigators to deal with child exploitation cases. We do Blue Courage. We are doing currently the civilian response to active shooter event training. We do have a partnership with the City of Brownsville Police Department, the SWAT Partnership Program, where we currently have one of our supervisors assigned to the SWAT Partnership Program over at Brownsville Police Department. We have currently working on, and actually this summer, we'll introduce our 2nd annual Summer Youth Leadership Academy. We're also gearing up to introduce a first offender program that actually we started working with that recently. Again, a lot of the stuff that we were working behind the scenes would have to put on the shelf for a little while. Obviously, COVID had us do things a little differently this last year. We also have one of the first reserve volunteer programs at an ISD here in the Rio Grande Valley. We do offer, as a matter of fact, we have at least 3 or 4 that are pending background checks to come on board as reserve at this department. They're recently graduates, by the way, with Texas Alamos College Police Academy. We have our Campus Crime Stoppers hotline. It's a 24-hour program that we currently have very active. You can see the number there. It's a hotline number. All calls are confidential. No court testimony is required, and each reward, we have a cash reward that are available through. And this is a very unique program. As a matter of fact, we partner up with the City Crime Stoppers board as well. So we have other special programs within our department that are very active, and we're really engaged with all of our students, staff, faculty, and parents.
Awesome. Okay, we have a couple of questions in the chat box, and these kind of piggyback off each other. We have a question coming in from Ms. Lopez. Can you elaborate on working with the police academy? And number 2, do you offer part-time jobs?
As far as the TSC Academy, we have the honor and privilege to be advisory board members currently at the academy. So that's basically our role currently there at the academy. But we do actively recruit from that academy. I can honestly tell you that I think we have a good number of cadets that graduated from that academy, working for us, gainfully employed, and doing very well, knock on wood here. And so the academy has done a phenomenal job to create this pool for us. As you know, school policing can be very specialized in a lot of ways. And so we look for that applicant that, and we don't have a problem. You know, we have an FTO, PTO program. We do have that training program that I alluded to that allows a brand new out of the academy cadet to come on board and go through our FTO PTO program, which usually lasts anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, and depending on the progress of that particular cadet.
Excellent. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you, Ms. Edwards, for also helping moderating the chat box here. She's also helping to answer some questions. I know you guys are partners in crime, so to speak, pun intended. Thank you. Here you see everyone, our attendees. We have contact information there. I encourage you again, please write down all these critical phone numbers in the event that you have further questions down the line. Today we have limited time, but please.
So can I ask, yes, one quick question, or actually a quick minute, won't take us too long. I'll quickly have Sergeant here. Sergeant
yes.
Paz would like to share a video that we have our annual in-service academy, not only for our ISD police officers, but we also have an in-service academy, summer academy for our security officers. So you're going to see this here in a minute. And
yes.
Sergeant Paz, right here. There she is.
Thank you, Sergeant Paz. Go ahead.
Let's see if it works. It's a community outreach video.
Right.
Call away, I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one call away. Call me, baby, if you need a friend. I just want to give you love. Come on, come on, come on. Reaching out to you, so take a chance. No matter where you go, you know you're not alone. I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one call away. Come along with me and don't be scared. I just want to set you free. Come on, come on, come on. You and me can make it see your smile. No matter where you go, you know you're not alone. I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one call away. And when you're weak, I'll be strong. I'm gonna keep holding on. Now don't you worry, it won't be long, darling. When you feel like hope is gone, just run into my arms. I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one. I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one call away. I'm only one call away.
Fantastic. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that video. That's
Thank you.
very it's a very good representation of what y'all do for the community. And I want one of those teddy bears. Those are so adorably cute.
Yes.
Thank you all so much, and thank you all, both you, Chief Garcia and Sergeant Boss, for being here today. Sergeant Boss, do you have anything you want to add?
What can I say that Chief didn't say already, right? But that was just a snippet of what we do. Our community engagement, our community outreach, our continuing education for our police officers, whatever you guys need, like the video says, we're a phone call away. Please call us. We do offer services 24/7. Our communication center is available to take your call, whether you have questions, concerns, or to report any suspicious activity. We're here to assist. So
awesome.
Oh yes, and our partnership with Nat Flores, which is your emergency management coordinator there at TSC, also a good friend of ours. So that's what Chief was just
awesome. Yeah, fantastic.
Thank you for inviting us, and thank you for your patience with our little technology hiccup.
No, it's definitely worth it when we get to see powerful images of that nature, because it speaks volumes. Like they say, a picture says 1,000 words, right? And sometimes it's like, what more can you say? And so I think you said it just perfectly. So thank you both for being here and supporting TSC and our Scorpion family. And I know you guys have been supporting of our Law Enforcement Expo through the years as we've been doing it. So thank you guys again. I know you guys usually bring the big mobile unit that you all usually do bring. So we look forward to having that. Again, hopefully next year, fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Fantastic. That was a great video. Moving on to our next panelist. Go ahead, Dr. Alves.
I was having technical difficulties of my own. Our next panelist is Mr. Javier Perez. He is the director at the Hester Juvenile Detention Center, and he also is one of our adjunct instructors for criminal justice. Javier, it's a pleasure to have you with us again. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. I know we're kind of short on time, so I'm going to try to whiz through our my PowerPoint here, but let me see if I get it going. Okay, like Dr. Apples was saying, I'm actually the facility administrator for the Darrell Hester Juvenile Detention Center. It's a 61-bed facility. We house residents from the age of 10 to 17 for different charges based on, it could be misdemeanors up to felonies, violations of probation. It is short term. We do have post-adjudication facilities also housed within located in our department. And what I'm going to cover today is basically the department itself, kind of different programs we have within the department. Also, those of you who are looking into going into the probation department, juvenile, most of the time the job does require for them to have a 1-year experience. And that's a great thing about what I stress to most of my students is try to get the experience prior to getting your degree. Currently, right now, I have at least 3 employees that are have degrees or still trying to acquire their experience. My department can offer that to you. I'm going to go ahead and cover what our department is about. The Cameron County Juvenile Justice Department works closely with local law enforcement, with local school district police departments to seek justice for citizens of the Cameron County. This department is given the task of prosecuting misdemeanor, felony crimes, truancy, runaway status offenses committed by juveniles ages 10 to 17. Kind of covered that. Our department actually has the courtroom located right next door also. So kind of when we bring them in, we're able to house them here. They're able to attend court and actually get court ordered and transported within our department. Part of the juvenile detention center, which I oversee as facility administrator, my job duty is to actually basically oversee the entire detention center. I'm in charge of budgeting, requiring basically to order all the hygiene items, making sure the residents have clothing, they're fed on a daily basis. Also, I'm required to provide staff uniforms, training, all that required to make this facility run. We also have an operations manager, and I've always said the operations manager basically runs the facility. I oversee it. However, the operations manager, it is a degree required position. That position basically handles all the scheduling. We have over 70 staff members here. It's a 24-hour facility, so we are required to man it 24 hours. We have to meet certain ratios based on the state, which is a 1-to-8 ratio. We can have up to 12 residents within the ratio. However, we try not to practice that. So this operations manager is requiring to make sure that those ratios are met, make sure we have enough staff are trained, properly equipped with the equipment, radios, uniforms, everything we need to make sure that everything's running. So he also is in charge of programming. We have by state standards, we have to provide them with open recreation. We have to provide them with large muscle exercises and also education. So his task is to make sure all this stuff is happens throughout the day. The other positions we do have is a juvenile supervision officer. That's the officer who actually monitors the residents on a daily basis. It's not a job, it's not a degree required position. However, you do have to pass a certification. We do give you 40 hours of training to become a juvenile supervision officer. It's 40 hours of in-class training and 40 hours of OJT, on the job training. We just don't throw you out there. We try to give you as much information as we can to work with the residents. I know one of the biggest ones is we do give restraint training for the fact that there is restraints that do happen within our facility. So we have to be trained on that. We train on de-escalation skills, on how to de-escalate situations that occur within the facility. Our residential treatment officer is basically the same certification. However, it's used in our post-adjudication facilities. And we also have the control booth operator, who is basically housed out of our control room and monitors all the traffic within the department. Sorry going through these kind of quick, but I kind of went over these. But if you are interested in applying with our department, you can actually go to our Cameron County website, hit on administration, human resources, and then hit job vacancies, and the little area there on the bottom will show you the different jobs that are being offered, and you have to apply through the website. I wanted to go through this little PowerPoint really quickly so that you guys can have an idea what our facility looks like, the atmosphere, and what we do there. This is actually the Darrell B. Hester Juvenile Detention Center. It's actually when it's got a new makeover recently, so it's actually gray. We've done renovations throughout the department with that I wish I could have updated. However, I wasn't able to do that. That's the front area of the facility. That's our booking area. Our juvenile supervision officers actually will meet the police officers entering through our facility and doing booking procedures right there. This is the most pertinent part of our job duty is basically to get all the information from the police officer. We also check for if they're under the influence. We also check for any kind of injuries prior to letting the resident into our facility, and we may have to have sent them out for a medical clearance. But this is basically the area where they come in. Shower area. This is where we actually have the resident shower. Their items will be removed from them, placed in secure lockers, and given their uniform. That's our section 1 day area where actually if you can see there in the background, that's where the control booth operator is housed. They basically maintain all the traffic within the facility. We do have different gang affiliations in the facility with the residents. So they have to make sure one pod is not being let out while the other pod is being let out, because we could have an altercation that could happen. That's our active day area. That's actually a probation officer there on the side. They will meet with the residents in the facility, kind of discuss what they're planning on doing with them as far as placement, how their court proceedings are going. And that'll all take place there in the day area. That's an actual pod. We have 8 rooms within the pod. That's an active day area of the pod. The residents will be hang out there throughout the day during while they're going to different classes or programming throughout the facility. That's actually a resident room. The residents are required to maintain their own room. There's only 1 resident per room. And they're all assigned each a room throughout the department. We have actually 4 pods within 1 section. That's basically their restroom. Classroom. All the residents that enter in our facility are registered in the San Benito School District. They get the same credits they would get on the outside. However, when they're released from our department, they're actually having to go re-register within their school district. We do have a PEMS clerk that will transfer over any work that they acquired while in our facility. That's our section 2 area. I know you guys are seeing foosball, you're seeing air hockey. Yes, these kids do get to participate in this. We also have Xbox. We have a gym. We have a library. Our department is actually incentive based. You behave within a department, you're able to participate in these kind of activities. It has helped out tremendously, providing these kids with a goal while they're here. And they also can purchase like extra phone time with their parents and visitation. Lunchroom. Just want to go over our post adjudication facility. I'm sorry, I'm rushing through this, Ms. Trevino.
No, that's great. We just have a question coming in that I think is very important.
Yes.
We've got some social workers in the house, some of our social work majors. And a question came in that says that due to the fact that your population is juveniles,
Yes.
do you all work closely with social workers? And if someone gets a 2-year associate degree in social work, can they work at your facility?
Yes, by all means. Well, as a juvenile probation officer, you can have a psychology degree, sociology degree, so you can go into that field. We also have a QMHP, which is Qualified Mental Health Professional, housed in our facility. We're actually contracting with Tropical Texas to provide the counseling to our residents. We do a questionnaire when the residents come in, which is a Macy questionnaire, kind of evaluates their mental health status. So we actually refer them out to counselors to meet with them. We also are, I believe you can do your internship here with your counseling. We are certified facility that can meet with our Miss Ann Cherie, who handles all that. But yes, you can work in with our department in a different facet though.
Okay. Great. We have another question coming in for you. What are the requirements to become a juvenile supervision officer?
I'm sorry, I went through that really fast, didn't I? Well, basically,
no, that's okay. Go ahead.
You did not need a degree. You just need to have a GED, high school diploma, somewhat of a clean record. We do a background check on you. You must be 21 years old. If you do have a misdemeanor on your background, after 5 years, it's kind of cleared. We will definitely look into hiring. A felony charge would be after 10 years, and we may be able to, depending on what charge it is. However, we are not looking for any kind of experience. Out of my experience, I don't like hiring people out of different departments because they bring their bad habits with them. I try to train my staff from the beginning, teach them how we want things done in our department, and and carry on like that.
So the minimum age is 21.
21, yes, ma'am.
Got it. Okay, very good. Okay, let me see if there are any other questions. No, looks like those are our questions. Okay. Anything else you want to share with us, Mr. Perez?
Just like I said, I do recommend any of you guys going into criminal justice field to definitely try to get as much experience prior to getting your degree. It's really tough getting a job nowadays, and the more experience you can get prior to getting your degree helps out tremendously. Our facility does offer a lot of that, dealing with kids with mental health issues, high-risk residents, dealing with de-escalation skills. We lose so many of our staff to different agencies like DPS, Child Protective Services. So you can acquire a lot of these skills needed to carry on with your degree. So like I said, please look into trying to work with us. We do have different, we have post-education facilities where we work with kids for longer terms, up to 6 months. We do house females, so we do hire female staff. Like I said, I do know we kind of are like a stepping stone. However, we are more than welcome to bring as many educated staff in here to work with the residents that we are supervising.
Excellent, fantastic. And I actually have been to this facility. You gave me a tour, Mr. Perez, and so thank you for that. I remember that a wonderful facility that is really exposing the students to many facets of their education and continuing that, and also recreational facilities. So I encourage all of you, if you have not taken Mr. Perez's juvenile justice class, he's our resident juvenile justice expert with the TSC faculty family here. He teaches with us every semester. We try to give him as many courses as we can, specifically for our juvenile justice system course that we do have. So again, Mr. Perez is part of our TSC family. And Mr. Perez, if you could in the chat box type your email address so our students can get in contact with you should they have any further questions. And but once again, I want to thank you for participating in this event. Again, Mr. Perez is part of our TSC family. So if you're interested in juvenile justice, again, I encourage you all to contact him directly. He is, again, our resident expert for juvenile justice. So thank you, Mr. Perez. If you can't get your email in, Dr. Alves will put it in for you. Do not worry about that. All right. So thank you, Mr. Perez.
Ms. Sonia, I do give tours during my class too, by the way. So
you do get what?
After COVID, if they do sign up for my juvenile class, I do like to give tours of the facility. So that's part of the curriculum in my class. So.
Awesome. So if you want a tour, sign up for the class and you'll get the in-depth experience from Mr. Perez, who runs that whole facility, that runs that whole outfit over there. So again, we have nothing but consummate professionals with a wealth of experience on our CJ faculty. So thank you again, Mr. Perez, for being here today. Okay. Yes, awesome. All right, thank you. If you could stop your screen share, Mr. Perez, please. Once again, thank you. And moving on to our final presenter. Go ahead, Dr. Alves.
All right, there you go. Thank you. Our final presenter comes from the Dallas Police Department. It is Officer Adam Penalosa. Mr. Penalosa, welcome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Thank you for everyone at Texas Southmost for inviting me to this Law Enforcement Expo. Thank you. All righty, everyone. I see we have 92 participants. I'm excited. That's probably been the most crowd I've had on a virtual. Still getting used to recruiting virtually is very different. Okay, we'll start off with a basic minimum qualifications, and then we'll get into the department itself and the testing processes and whatnot. Okay, let me introduce myself. I'm Officer Penalosa. I've been on the police department since 2015. I was on here for 3.5 years before I decided I want to try and become a federal agent. I became a border patrol agent for a little bit and decided, hey, you know what? It wasn't for me moving my family out to Arizona and wanted to come back home to Dallas and work with Dallas PD. All right, so there's plenty of time for growth. I'm gonna type let me see. Our website there is dallaspolice.net/join DPD, and I'm going to write my email address just before I forget. All right, cool. So let's start. Okay, so you have minimum qualifications. All right, you must be a U.S. citizen, whether by birth or naturalized, to start your application process. You must have a valid driver's license. If you're over the age of 21 years old, you can have a minimum of 45 semester college hours with a minimum of a 2.0 to get it, for your minimum eligibility as far as our civil service goes. All right. The first step in the process is applying at our website. And again, I'll put our link there at dallaspolice.net. You apply, you'll submit any transcripts that you have that, all the transcripts that you have accumulating of 45 semester hours. And then after that, you'll take a civil service exam, which you will take that online right now since COVID and everything. We're doing everything online. So you'll take that test, you'll pass it. Once you pass the test, you'll contact us, recruiter, to get you scheduled to come in, for the remainder portions of this testing, which is your interview, your your polygraph exam, your physical fitness test, and an applicant interview board, which I think I just already said. And before that gets done, you'll schedule with us. Okay, like we understand from different areas that you would have to schedule with us. A little bit about the starting pay. Our academy starts off day one, you start base pay, and that's going to be $61,367. And that's without a degree. All right. And like I said, starting day one, full benefits. If you haven't come in with a bachelor's degree or higher, then you start off at $64,967. And our academy is 9 months long. It is kind of long, but hey, you go home at the end of the day, you start at 8 in the morning, you do what you have to do, you get an hour for lunch, and at 5 o'clock, you are done. And it's time to go home. Like I said, for starting pay, to me, when I came through, it was about 40 grand. So I definitely like the pay bump. And on top of that, if you have different language skills, if you speak a different language, you get incentive pay, you get additional pay for, depending on how proficient you are in the languages. We offer different pays for shift differential, whether it's you're working an evening shift, an overnight shift, you get patrol pay if you're working patrol. And also, I'm sure since this is law enforcement, so I'm sure you're familiar with the basic peace officer license. When you complete the academy, that's where you're at a basic peace officer license. And from there, you go to intermediate, advanced, and masters. And the department pays you based on your certification levels. That highest being a master's peace officer license, you get an extra $600 a month for that master certification. Okay. A little bit about the department. We're a large department. We have 3,100 officers. And we're currently looking to add 100 new officers, or probably even over 100 new officers. So we are definitely hiring. We're definitely hiring. And what is the process for bringing in officers with license and lateral transfers? So right now for lateral transfers, you are getting paid. We do accept lateral transfers, and we do up to 5 years of experience. You will get paid, and you'll get paid on base of your experience. You are subject to the initial hiring process as the basic hiring process as new applicants, just because it just comes with a civil liability thing. If you're, how that works. If you're a police officer, the city wants to train you from ground up. I heard the other panelists before me who said, we like to train you. We want to make sure you're trained. So that's how the city sees it. But you do get paid up to 5 years. And I think if you have over 5 years of experience and the base pay coming into the academy, you'll be around $72,000. So if we're already in the police academy, we would need to go to an additional academy fire. I believe I'm not sure if that's to question for me, but yeah. So if you would have to go through the Dallas Police Department. Everyone coming to Dallas Police will have to go through our academy, correct? But
okay. I'm not sure if you addressed this question, but we had a student coming in on the Q&A that asked, do volunteer hours count as experience for your agency?
As far as I see that minimum requirement hours, volunteer hours, I mean, definitely looks great on your resume, showing that you're willing to help and help the community. But as far as we would need at least 45 college hours for to be viewed as eligible for the position of the age of 20, being over the age of 21. You can start your application process at 19 and a half years of age with at least 60 hours or an associate's degree. And the degrees can be in anything, as long as you have that educational level. We don't have specific, degree plans that we take it, like I said, we're currently hiring.
Okay.
They created a shorter academy for those who have completed an academy. So I'm getting questions here on the side.
Yeah, go ahead.
As far as shorter academies, No, right now it's still 9 months for everyone, but I mean, it's a great time. You know, we look back at those times like, oh, you know, I definitely enjoyed the academy when I was there.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, our department, so we have over 3,100 officers, and we're currently looking to hire about 100 more. There's plenty of room for growth. With that being said, with how large the department is, have roughly 4 years on DPD, break in service, but I'm in the recruiting department now. So there's plenty. We have 100 different specialized units within the department. You know, whether you want to become a detective, our detectives are crime specific. So if they're a homicide detective, that's all they investigate are homicides. You know, if you're a robbery detective, that's all you investigate are robberies. You know, if you happen to be, we have different task force. We have gang, narcotics. We have a helicopter unit. You know, I was on our speed and race task force shortly before coming onto our recruiting unit a month ago. So, you know, just going after, you know, I'm sure everyone's seen on social media all the different people doing street takeovers and donuts, and, you know, we're going after them. Like I said, we have a large department, and if there are any, I think I saw a beep, sorry.
That's okay.
Have they created shorter? No, it's just gone. Yeah, but like I said, I put my information there. If there are any questions, you know, please feel free. You know, yes, you would have to go through an academy. It's 9 months long. It seems long, but it goes by quick when you're going home at the end of the day and you're getting paid $61,000 just to, you know, to learn. You're getting paid to train, and not many departments pay you that much, you know, to train.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic point to make. That fact that you are one of those academies that does pay your recruits to come in to learn and get paid for that experience. So that's definitely a big plus. As you know, many of our students are hesitant to leave the Valley. So that's why we're glad that you're here today, because we want to expose our students to know that there are, of course, opportunities out there, but that they pay well and it's a good living. So thank you for that. Anything else, Mr. Penalosa, before we let you go? Anything else you want to close on?
I just want to close. Hey, I mean, Dallas is a great place to be. You know, I mean, you can drive, if you're more like the more rural communities, you can drive 20 minutes in each direction and you're in a more rural area, or you can live in the city. You know, I left the agency and I came back. That just proves, you know, I went for a year and a half somewhere else, and, you know, it didn't compare to Dallas, you know, for me, you know.
Plus the Dallas Cowboys are there. Hey.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. Hey. Plenty of room to grow.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. So thank you, Mr. Penalosa, for being here. Everyone in attendance, he did type his email in the chat box. Please make note of that, and he'd be more than happy to assist you with any questions. Dallas PD does come regularly to the Texas Southmost College campus. I know you guys are here for throughout the year. They set up in South Hall. Those of you that are familiar in South Hall, they're usually in the lobby area with an informational table. So Dallas PD is definitely not our community partner, but our state partner, who is also very supportive of Texas Southmost College and our Scorpion family. So thank you, Mr. Penalosa, for being here. We appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
Yes, of course. All right, so we're coming up on 11:57 a.m. So we are going to wrap up our virtual Law Enforcement Expo for 2021. Dr. Alves, do you have any words for the criminal justice program before we sign off for the day?
For the criminal justice students on today, thank you so much for coming on. I hope the information was valuable to you. It seemed to be valuable to me. If you have any questions or any follow-ups or whatnot, contact me or Mr. Trevino, and we'll try to get you those answers. Of course, we couldn't get to all questions in the Q&A. We were on a kind of like a time frame, but we will get those questions to you. So by all means, I've written down some of those questions and I've written down your names. I'll be able to get that information to you as well. If you are not a criminal justice student and you are interested in our program, please contact me. I will put my email in the chat. I am also listed on the TSC's webpage for criminal justice, and we can answer any questions that you may have. Thanks, guys, for coming.
Awesome. Thank you so much once again for being here. Again, my name is Sonia Trevino. I'm the department chair for behavioral and social sciences, and also criminal justice full-time faculty members. So feel free to reach out to either myself or Dr. Alves. We are recording it and we will put it on the TSC Office of Student Life social media Facebook page. And so you can watch the recording again if your questions weren't answered or maybe we missed it. But thank you all for being here. We appreciate you logging in today and gaining this valuable information. We hope that it was a benefit to you. We look forward to meeting with you all. For our current Scorpion students, stay Scorpion strong. For our future Scorpions, we are here to help and to serve you if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you once again for being here for our 2021 Virtual Law Enforcement Expo. And we will see you all very, very soon in the future. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you. Take care. Stay safe.
Bye, guys.